Good evening. That's loud. My name's Jeremiah LaFleur. Some of you know me, some of you don't. I've been attending here for coming up on a year. I think it's been 8 months, 9 months. Just got married in November. My beautiful wife, she works till late, so that's why she's not here this evening. But I talked with Pastor Ray about doing this a couple months back. And I was thinking, had a couple ideas, and then he sent me, the guidelines of what he wanted us to speak about. And as soon as I read through the list, it popped out to me. The Lord is my portion.
Oh, good.
Everybody doing their testimonies, getting all emotional. So I'll break it up a little bit, tell just a real quick joke. What did the father buffalo say to the son buffalo when he left for work? Bye, son. So
there we go.
So
Aisle 11.
I don't know how well that'll translate in Spanish, but
So the verse is out of Psalm 16:5. So just sat and thought about it. What does it mean that the Lord is my portion? You could look at it several different ways. The Lord is the basics of my necessities, my portion. The scripture tends to use portion in essence, it means the Lord is my inheritance. And we look at who the author of Psalm 16 is. It's King David. And this is relevant because I believe David knew better than a lot, I wouldn't say most or all, but what the true value of the Lord being his portion was. He led David through childhood, anointed him. David fought Goliath, and on to his teen years, where Saul hunted him down because he had the blessing of God, and all the way until he became king. And that's where I'm going to kind of coming into is because David realized that the value of God's portion was not the blessings, but was the relationship with God himself. And that culminates, I'm going to jump over to 2 Samuel 7. There it is. After the king was settled in his palace, and the Lord had given him rest from all his enemies around him, he said to Nathan the prophet, "Here I am, living in a palace of cedar, while the ark of God remains in a tent." Nathan replied to the king, in essence, "Do what's in your heart." Nathan didn't really think much of it. And then Nathan goes away, and God comes to Nathan. He's like, "Hey, Nathan, is David serious?" And I'm paraphrasing, but he's like, "When did I ever convey to anyone that I wanted a house?" I like to think of it as David learned God's love language. And, you know, David, he's like, I live in this palace. God has given me rest. Everything's going good. You know, God's brought me through. And he's like, if I'm living in this house and God's in a tent, that's not okay with me. He's like, I want to build God a house. And so that's when God goes to David and is like, or goes to Nathan and is like, would he really do this? And so what it symbolizes is that for you know, if you want to look at it a little bit deeper, is David, his motivation wasn't just to have a building. It was to have a focal point where God's Spirit and God himself could be among the people. Is that after wandering the desert for 40 years, carrying it around battlefield to battlefield, you know, there's finally a place for God to rest. Yes. That was the drive of David's heart. And so, and in return, I'm going to paraphrase to shorten it up. God says, oh, you want to build me a house? Well, I'm going to build your house, David. And my son will come through your lineage. Yeah. And so, I say all that, you know, that to pretty much emphasize, you know, it's not about what God can do for you, you know, all the time. It's about that relationship and that intimacy. And you know, I strive, and over the years, you know, I'm an imperfect human, but, you know, there's just something deep in my heart that's just like, man, I wish I could touch God's heart like David did. So, just a little food for thought. I don't want to go over my time, but, you know, hopefully this was something that touched your guys' heart. And thanks.